Benjamin here from Lean Strong Fitness and Wellness. Today I want to talk a little bit about managing your time, more accurately, managing your energy. And the framework I'd like to share with you today is the stepping stool method. This was taught to me a long time ago by a longtime friend and mentor and client about how to manage not just your priorities, but more importantly, your energy when it comes to those priorities. So bear with me here. I'd like you to picture a stepping stool with 3 legs on it. And personally, I picture like an old, handmade stepping stool like my grandfather would have used. He was a farmer, but it's just got 3 legs on it. And obviously for this stepping stool to stay balanced, all the 3 legs need to be roughly the same length. Otherwise, the stool is going to fall over. Now, when it comes to your life, you've got different priorities in your life, and each area is one of the legs of the stepping stool. So you can make these legs whatever you want them to be, but for most people, these legs are going to be a variation of your health, your finances, and your relationships. So personally, I think of these categories for my stepping stool as health, wealth, and love. Now, each one of those obviously has a lot of different components. Like your health isn't just how good are your abs or what's your body fat percentage or how much can you bench press. Your health is your physical health, but also your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health. There's all sorts of elements that strengthen that stepping stool because as you've experienced, getting abs won't necessarily make you healthy, and managing with the emotional side of things won't necessarily change your physical health. So there's lots of elements to this area, but one of our legs is going to be health. The other one, which I think of as wealth, just because it rhymes with health, is really around career and finances. So this would be your job, this would be your investments, the equity in your home, your payments, your budget, your cash flow, anything that relates to money, finances, how you make it and how you keep it. And the last leg of the stepping stool I like to think of as love. So we've got health, we've got wealth, and now we've got love. And love to me is relationships. It's the relationships with your kids, your grandkids, your cousins, your family members. It's all the people in your social circle or maybe your church group. It can also be your relationship with God if that's a belief system that you uphold. But again, these 3 legs can vary person to person, but they're usually variations of health, wealth, and love. You might call it health, career, and relationships, but these are the 3 legs that we want to keep in balance. And when it comes to managing our priorities, which are often competing, and there's 1,000 demands on your time, and there's not time for workouts, let alone getting the kids to that thing, and what about dinner tonight, and someone's got to cut the grass or soon to shovel the snow. It's not always about time, it's about energy, because different elements, or more accurately, different legs of the stepping stool are going to take different amounts of time to build. For instance, work is typically 40 to 50 hours a week for most of us. That's more than a third of our life. That one does have a really big time component to it. But there's also elements of getting a raise or taking on a side hustle or something that may or may not have the same time requirements. Conversely, relationships is something that we obviously want to spend a lot of time in, but more time doesn't necessarily mean more quality time. We all know that feeling when we're trying to be present with family members, but we're actually kind of checking emails and looking at our phone. 3 hours of unfocused time isn't the same as 30 minutes of fully present. And then when it comes to your wealth or your health as well, there's other things that take certain amounts of time. For instance, you can't work out for 8 hours a day the same way you might need to go to work for 8 hours a day. That actually has very strong diminishing returns. It just doesn't work that well. But it's something that doesn't require a lot of time, but it can drastically improve your health. Now, the goal of the stepping stool isn't just around everything being awesome. It's about everything being in balance. And the way you're going to rate your progress on the stepping stool is red, yellow, and green, the traffic light method. Are health, wealth, and love green? Are they yellow? Are they red and they're a little bit of a dumpster fire? That's totally okay. We're all at different places. But what you want to be thinking about is not having one leg drastically stronger than the other, because the weak leg is the one that's going to break. Now, if they're all a little bit weak, they're going to need to grow together. But having 2 areas of your life that are rock solid and one that's crumbling or ripping at the seams isn't nearly as valuable as having all of the areas in your life appropriately balanced. Now, how does this tie into energy management and managing your time? Well, the whole goal here is that you're looking at it from a broad strokes perspective. Yes, maybe there's some things you should be doing different in your workout or with your nutrition, but when you zoom out, it really helps put things in perspective. Because one of the things that we find is a challenge when it comes to our clients is it's not that they don't have enough time to work out. It's not that I don't have enough time to work out. It's about, do I feel like I have the energy to do the things that matter to me? Every email we get, every text we get, every meeting request, every ask of us is somebody else requesting time in our to-do list and our calendar. And that's okay, because a lot of those people we love spending time with, a lot of those projects we love working on. But the goal here is to zoom out and look at, from a big picture, are the 3 legs of my stepping stool in balance? Because if they're not, the next question isn't, well, what specifically do I need to change in my workout program, or how much more money do I need to make? It's, well, what would it look like if I were to strengthen that leg? If your health is red and the other areas are stronger than red, you don't need to hit the gym 10 times a week. You probably need to hit the gym like twice a week and then aim to be active every day. Maybe it's not a physical health thing, maybe it's a mental or emotional health, and maybe it involves just going for a walk, spending time in nature, or practicing a mindfulness habit such as meditation. Same with the wealth or career leg. Are things going well, or do you hate your job? The next step doesn't have to be throw the baby out with the bathwater and quit, but the next step might be, maybe I'm going to get my resume out there and see what else might be available to me. And same with relationships, and this is honestly the one that I find I personally have a lot of trouble with, because I put a lot of my energy and time into my work. And the relationship side of things has been very clear to me that it's not about the amount of time, as I mentioned, it's about the quality of time. Sometimes that next step is just making sure your phone's in another room when you're having family dinners, or not having screens before you go to bed so you can spend more quality time together. But when it comes to managing your priorities and managing your time, I wouldn't think of it as how much time do I have for these things, because each leg of the stepping stool is going to inherently require a different amount of time. It's about, are they in balance? And if not, what does that next step look like? And very often it's going to be competing priorities. If 2 legs are green and 1 leg is red, often to get that other leg from red to yellow, it requires some of the other legs going from sometimes green to yellow. And that doesn't always feel good, but at the end of the day, the stepping stool is balanced. And in my experience and everything I've learned working with tons of people just like you, a balanced stepping stool always feels better. And you're coming from a place with like way more energy and way more motivation. And you're just optimistic about what the future can hold, rather than beating yourself up about not having enough time to do that thing. So I want to encourage you to, 1, zoom out and determine what are the legs of your stepping stool. 2, red, yellow, or green, how are those legs doing? Broad strokes, don't get too specific. And 3, which leg of the stepping stool do you want to tackle first? And what does the next step look like? So I hope that helps, and I encourage you to stop managing your time and start managing your energy, because with more energy, you can get a lot more done in a lot less time. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.